It's not easy becoming the person that you're created to be, that God destined for you to be from the beginning of time when He thought of you, when He dreamt of you. And it's not easy to go from the distortion that we experience as we're born, from the time that we're born. It says that we're born into sin. It doesn't say we're born sinners. It says we're born into an environment that has been consumed by sin. And so because of this environment, it causes these distortions. I like calling them distortions in our lives. And when these distortions are caused in our lives, it can affect the way that we show up, and it can really keep us from stepping into the thing that we're created to be. So therefore, destiny is elusive. It seems out there, like it's not going to happen. There's a gap there, and you're never going to be able to go over the gap. But today I want to give you some inspiration and some advice of how to go from this distorted version of yourself that you might be experiencing now that seems dark and distant from the destiny that you're created for, and how to go from that place, distortion, from that darkness to destiny. So I want to highlight how to do that, and I'm going to do that by telling you a story. Specifically, I'm going to tell you a vision that I had in 2014. And this was when I was in ministry school. I was just fresh in ministry school. I moved to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in 2013, in September of 2013, and I went to a ministry school. And in this ministry school, I got to know God in different ways, and I got to experience Him in different ways. And one of these experiences, one of these encounters, and this vision that I had seemed very simple at the time, and it seemed, oh, this is something that's happening now, or it's something that I'm already further along than I thought I was. But a couple years ago, God reminded me of this vision. And I realized that the vision was the story of my life, and it's the story of going from this place of darkness into a place of destiny. And so I want to share that with you. And it's crazy how accurate this vision was for myself. And I've realized that when I share this vision with others, a lot of people relate to it because there's certain principles and ideas that flow together that make it work the way it needs to work. This vision starts out as me as a child, and I'm with my hand with Jesus. I have my hand with Jesus, and we're walking through the woods. And we're exploring this kind of forest. We're walking through this path, this trail, and we're exploring the forest. And I like this happy-go-lucky little child, and I'm looking at everything, and I'm like, whoa, look at that. Like the wonder, as you can imagine, the wonder of a child. And I'm seeing all these really cool things happening around me. I'm looking at the butterflies, the bugs, the different things, the colors of the forest, the trees, the plants, all these different things. And as we're going into this forest, into these woods, and we're exploring it, then all of a sudden we come to this cave opening. And there's this opening to a cave, like the one you normally see in like a movie, or what you would imagine a cave opening looks like. It's just, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's go explore a cave. And it was like this perfect little cave opening. And we come to it, and Jesus is like, hey, do you want to explore it? Do you want to go deeper? And I'm like, yeah, let's explore it. So we went into the cave, and as we went into the cave, naturally, it got darker and darker. It came so dark, though, as we went further and deeper into the cave, that it was completely pitch black, where I could not see the hand in front of my face. And I didn't feel like, while it was completely dark, I didn't feel like any fear, because I was still holding on to the hand of Jesus, and I trusted Him. But as we got into that place of pitch black darkness, I saw this river in front of me, or I didn't see it, but I heard it. I heard this river, this underground rushing river, like a version of Niagara Falls you would hear, where it's this roar. It's this like real roar, not that big, but it was this real underground roar of a river. It was like, wow, this seems dangerous. But I knew I had to cross the river. I knew I had to transition over the river. And I was like, are we going to do this? And Jesus looks at me, and He's, okay, just step where I step. And so every time He stepped, I saw where He stepped, and I would step with Him, and we transitioned over this river. And as we got out on the other side, it was still dark, But then all of a sudden we start seeing like this light, this pinhole of a light in the distance. And this, again, this is like this tiny, tiny pinhole. But as we focused on the light and we went toward it, the light, it got bigger and bigger until we came to, again, the opening of a cave. And as we stepped out, we're stepped out into this ledge, and there's this ledge. It's this beautiful light, and it's this sunshine. It's bright. It's this no cloud in the sky day, but there's clouds underneath us, some sprinkled clouds, but they're underneath us. We're on this cliff ledge, right? And it's just beautiful, refreshing time. And I'm sitting there and I'm enjoying that refreshment. And then Jesus looks at me and is, hey, are you ready to jump? And I'm like, wait, what? Jump. I'm enjoying this ledge. I'm enjoying sitting here. I'm enjoying the breath of fresh air. It feels good to sit on the ledge. But he's, yeah, we're going to jump. So he's like, here, take my hand. We're going to jump together. I took his hand and was like, okay, I don't get this, but we're going to jump. And so we jump off, and there's this free fall for a bit where you feel the wind. And then all of a sudden, I had wings and I was soaring. I was floating. And I was floating on the wind. And we were just soaring around for a little bit, but then we went down through the clouds, and I landed on a stage, and I was given a mic, and there was these groups of people in front of me, a lot of people in front of me. And then the vision ended, and that was it. And at the time that I had the vision, I thought, oh, this is a picture of what I focused more on the end result of being given a mic on a stage. It was like, oh, this is what I'm called to. This is my destiny. This is what I'm going to step into. This is what I'm going to do. And all these different things, really excited. And I felt like it's in the moment, like this is for now, right? However, I didn't realize the path. I didn't realize that at that moment when I had the vision, I was just this happy-go-lucky kid in the forest with Jesus exploring the kingdom of God. And so that's what I'm going to look at. We're going to look at the different parts of this, 5 different parts or 6 different parts of this vision, and unpack it a little bit for you so that you can take hold of it for yourself and you can see what it looks like to start to go from this place of darkness or distortion in your own life and to step into the destiny and the vision that God has created for you. See, part number 1 is the forest. And again, it's this happy-go-lucky kind of kid place in the forest where it says that you have to become like a child to enter the kingdom of God. So we become like children. And for me, this was a place of ministry school. This is where I got to know what it looks like to just have fun with Jesus, get to know Jesus, get to know who he is, but get to look at the kingdom of God and the kingdom of heaven and what's available to us as believers. And it was a fun time, right? Whereas, oh, look at that, because we would go and we'd minister to people in the streets, and we saw a lot of incredible things happen. I saw a ton of miracles happen during that time, where God was just flowing through me and through the people around me, and I was just blown away by the goodness of God, and it was really fun experience. Then we come to this cave, and it's an invitation to explore this cave. And for me, it was when I left the ministry school, I was debating where to go or what to do. Like I could stay with the ministry school, maybe put on staff there if I wanted to, or go serve somewhere as an intern or something like that. But I felt like I was supposed to move back home. And so I moved back home. And when I moved back home, there's this interesting thing that happened. While I was still hand in hand with Jesus and I still trusted him and I never lost that. While I was there, there's some people around me that didn't quite understand my journey at that point. And so I was judged in different ways that weren't necessarily true. But I remember the moment when I accepted the judgment in a sense, where I was like, yeah, I'm dealing with that. And the judgment was something like this: Justin, you're being fake. And I wasn't being fake. I was just really good at giving things that I was experiencing in life to God right away. I was always doing it through his filter, through the filter of him. But I was maybe immature, for sure. That's no doubt. But I wasn't being fake. But the moment I entertained that I was being fake, and therefore I had more problems than I was letting on, then those problems, the moment I put my foot into the door of those problems, they opened the door. And the same things that I had used to deal with that I hadn't dealt with in a long time came rushing back into my life, like depression, pornography, just different things like that, because I stopped believing who I was. I stopped believing in my identity. And again, I can't blame the people I was with or anything like that, but I went into a space of darkness. And it was darkness because I didn't know how to be myself anymore. I had lost myself in a sense. And this deep darkness where it was completely pitch black, I couldn't see anything in front of me. I didn't know how to turn or where to go. And it was discouragement, and it was depression. It was all those things, despair, all those things added up because I didn't have any hope. Like, I had lost myself. And in this deep darkness, again, there's this transition, this period of transition and I came to the end of myself, and I realized what was going on. I realized that I didn't know how to be myself anymore. And I had written that in my journal. And I was like, okay, Lord, I need to find a way out. I need to do something different. So that's what I did. And that's where you come to the underground river, where, again, this is a choice for each one of us, where we have a choice to continue in the darkness, or we can make a choice to transition a river. And transition isn't always easy, but it's leaving the place where you were at, the darkness, and choosing to leave that behind by taking hold of the things that God has told you that you are, instead of the things that the people around you may have said you are. And it's coming to the end of yourself to where it's, okay, I make a choice to do something different. I recognize the thing that is going on, and I'm going to make a choice to do something different. That's what I did. And when I did that, I ended up like physically moving, physically going to a different church, and different things like that I physically did because I had made a choice. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change, like, this is going to happen. And when we transitioned, again, I started seeing this light coming in the distance. And this light is the choice, again, to transition and focus on God's goodness. And that's what I did, again, very practically in my life. Like, I would wake up and I didn't have anything to be thankful for, but I would force myself to be thankful. I would thank God for the fact that I had a bed to sleep in. I would thank God for just the smallest little things, that I had food, that I had a bed, that I had XYZ. I would come up with things to say and be thankful for. But I started to focus on the goodness of God, on that little bit of light that seemed impossible to find. It was just a pinhole. But I focused on that instead of the darkness. And as I focused on that, it got bigger and bigger. And I came to this opening where all of a sudden I was out on this ledge. And out on this ledge, like, there was this refreshing sun where I was really just soaking in the sun. I was just like, the darkness was no longer there clutching me. And I was able to actually see myself for who I really was and who God had created me to be. And I was able to enjoy that part of myself again. Something that had been lost in the darkness was back inside of me again. And this time I had more maturity because I was just soaking in the sun. I was learning to enjoy Him again, learning to enjoy who God is, and learning to enjoy everything about Him. And as I sat there and I enjoyed Him, it changed the different aspects of myself. It not because when you're in the darkness for a long time, like, your very being, your soul gets corrupted. It gets dark. But when we start focusing on the light, our souls start being renewed. And as our souls are renewed, then it literally starts transforming the way that we think and the way that we live and the way that we are. And that's what happened. I was transformed on that ledge. Then after sitting on the ledge and just soaking and just wanting to stay there, but then there's an invitation to jump. And the invitation to jump is an invitation to let go of yourself. Because when you jump, you're not caught on yourself anymore. When you jump, it's a free fall. You've left behind the ledge, right? You've left that behind. You've left your old life behind, and you've left everything else behind. Like, you can't go back after you jump. It's this full jump. It's this full surrender and submission specifically to the Spirit. Because, like, in this lesson, in this vision that I had, jumping off the ledge, taking that leap was a leap to be moved by the Spirit. Because when I got those wings and I was floating on the wind, well, the wind is the Spirit. The wind and the Spirit are one. And so I was learning to soar on the wind of the Spirit. I was learning to flow by the Spirit, where it was no longer I who live, but it's Christ who lives in me, the Spirit who is building and doing the things within me. And from that place, I get to create, and I get to be a person that is transformational at the core as I'm led by the Spirit, because there's this freedom of it. Like, just imagine the freedom of, you see an eagle spreading its wings and just like soaring, the freedom of that. And that's what it is to be led by the Spirit. There's this freedom. But you have to let go of your own dependencies of the ledge that's safe and sound, and you don't have to do anything. You have to let go of that. Yes, there's a season for the ledge, but then there's a season to jump, to take the leap, to be like, okay, Lord, I surrender and I go with you in the Spirit, and I want to learn how to live by the Spirit. And it's this time of learning, of deep learning. It's a time of being able to take hold of the character and the different elements of God that you need to take hold of to actually step into the thing that you're created for, to actually live in the way that you're designed to live. And that's what the leap does. And so I leapt off. And that's where I find myself today, in this place where I'm learning to soar with the Spirit. I'm learning to be like, okay, Spirit, I feel you here. I feel you there. I like, let's do this. I want to create something beautiful. I want to create something fantastic with Him. And that's what I feel like, that's what it means for me when I say a Spirit-led creator. Someone who's learned to live by the Spirit, who has submitted to the Spirit and is learning to live by the Spirit and flow by the Spirit. And as they do, they're creating, they're putting content and information and different things out into the world, value out into the world, because it's what they're created to do. And as they give that value out into the world, it changes the world. It makes the world a little bit of a better place, because it's the sons and daughters of God rising up and being who they're created to be. Because all of creation is groaning and waiting for us to rise up. In Romans 8, it says. So that's what we're here for. That's what this channel, these videos, the Spirit-led Creator movement is all about. I'm going to be putting it on YouTube. This video is going to be on Facebook. It's going to be in different places, but that's what it's about. It's about us taking the leap, learning to soak in the Spirit, first of all, to get good with enjoying the light of His presence, and then jumping off and taking the leap and learning how to fly with the Spirit, learning how to create with Him, learning how to do the things we're created to create. And at the end, and this is the final part, it's the part where we land on the stage and we're given the mic. It's a part where the things that we've built and we've taken time to learn and soar and discover as we're soaring, like, it all comes together for the thing that we're really created to do and the impact that we're created to make. And as we create this impact, like, there's crowds of people in front of us waiting for us to speak, waiting for us to share the things that God has created for us to share. And that's the invitation. That's what it means to be a Spirit-led creator. So my question to you is, are you ready to take the leap?